Tesla sat on a hillside street long enough to be towed. At the yard, staff reported full odor. Police opened the trunk, and inside was a 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernández. The car was registered to the artist David. From that moment, headlines and screenshots started moving faster than verified facts. In this video, I'm going to slow it down. What's confirmed, what's reported, and what's just being claimed. Everyone named is innocent until proven guilty. If you're new here, I'm Cora. Welcome to Crimes Across Borders. I usually cover underreported European cases and occasional ongoing stories like this one. If that's your thing, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any follow-ups. Before we start, some of what's out there is graphic or unverified. I will stick to the timeline and the sources, and I will mention if anything is just a rumor dressed as proof. Neighbors in the Hollywood Hills kept seeing a Texas-plated Tesla sitting on the same stretch of road. Parking enforcement did what they always do, choked the tire, waited out the 72 hours, wrote a citation, and eventually the car was towed to Hollywood Tow. At the yard, staff noticed flies and a strong odor. LAPD was called, officers opened the trunk, and from here, few things are solid. The vehicle was registered to David Anthony Burke, the artist known as David. At that point, it hadn't been reported stolen, and based on multiple reports, more than one person in his circle could access his cars. People like managers, assistants, his crew. That context doesn't explain what happened, but I think it matters. So early coverage scrambled a lot of details. Some outlets used the word dismembered, others went with head and torso. Later, language became more cautious. The remains were badly decomposed. Cause and manner were still pending. Detectives handled it as homicide investigation, but there was no official confirmation of any other details. So let's focus on Celeste. What's known about her before that day, the missing person timeline, and why people in her community say warning signs were there long before any headlines. Now, before this turned into headlines and hashtags, it's worth remembering Celeste Rivas Hernández was a real girl, a child actually. She was only 13 when she went missing. She was from Lake Elsinore, California, about 70 miles southeast of Los Angeles. She was, as I mentioned, just 13 when she disappeared in April 2024. According to missing person flyers and police statements, April 5th was the last confirmed day anyone saw her. Over the following months, there were reportedly more than one missing person report. Some sources say there were 3 separate times in 2024, but very little public information about where she was in between. No clear timeline, no verified sightings, and no official explanation for those gaps.
This minute-long video is critical to what came next in her young life, as is personal information about Celeste herself from the man who owns the cameras. The other day, TMZ acquired video of Celeste in her parents' backyard on September 8th of 2024. That's 5 months after she supposedly ran off for the last time. And it's also one day after her 14th birthday. Amazingly, the coincidence here is that it was 1 year to the day that her remains were discovered in David's trunk.
Fast forward to September 2025, when that Tesla was towed and later opened, the remains found inside were identified through dental records as Celeste. At that point, she was just 14. Her body was badly decomposed and, according to officials, found in a bag inside the front of the car, the so-called frunk. The coroner listed her date of death as September 8, 2025, but the exact cause and manner are still pending. That means they haven't yet determined how she died or whether it was homicide, accident, or something else. Her remains were released back to her family just a few weeks later on September 23rd for a private service. Now, the car itself had reportedly been parked in that Hollywood Hills neighborhood for several weeks before anyone called it in, so the investigators believe she may have been dead for some time before being found. After the discovery, police served a search warrant at a home in the Hollywood Hills that connected to David's management team. Police then spent hours at that house. It was leased under manager's name, but it's believed to be used by David. Neighbors saw officers carrying out electronics and evidence bags. A spokesperson said the singer had been informed and was cooperating. He performed a scheduled show the next night and then cancelled later 2 days once the victim was publicly named. So that's the factual timeline for now, the pieces that can be actually verified. But from there, things got messy fast. As I already mentioned, some outlets used words like dismembered, others said head and torso. Later, reporting became a bit more cautious, saying only that the remains were decomposed. As of right now, there is no official confirmation from LAPD or the coroner's office. So if you've seen those headlines or graphic posts floating around, take them with caution. They are not verified facts, at least not at the moment when I'm recording this. There were also social media claims about infant remains, or that Celeste might have been pregnant, or that something was found near the artist's house. None of that has been confirmed by the police or by the medical examiner. And then there's the live stream rumor, the idea that Celeste might have gone live before she disappeared or mentioned David directly. You may have come across a video online that looks like live stream from January 2024, showing David and a young woman many believe to be Celeste. In that clip, she asks him to answer a comment, and he seems to instruct moderators to delete the stream.
He trained you. That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my. Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
But, and this is crucial, nobody has confirmed the video is real. I found no credible law enforcement or forensic source validating this authenticity. And this is the world we live in, that even if you see something in front of your eyes, it might not be real. So it's entirely possible it is real. It's also possible it's edited, manipulated, or even AI generated. At this stage, it belongs to the unverified claims box. If anything becomes more certain in a court filing or official release, I will update accordingly. Once that video started circulating, the story exploded online, as you can imagine. And honestly, this is where things got complicated really fast. Within hours, clips, screenshots, and AI voiceovers were everywhere. I actually watched one of the songs the ending of the song was changed, so it seemed the singer is actually singing about killing Celeste. People were posting side-by-side comparisons, slow-down replays, even supposed forensic breakdowns by accounts with no credentials at all. Some claimed the video was a proof of guilt, others said it was a smear campaign or AI disinformation, and somewhere in the middle, the actual investigation was still just beginning. This is one of those moments where the speed of the internet totally outruns the pace of verified information. Police were still processing the evidence, and meanwhile, TikTok detectives had already solved the case 5 different ways. Some creators even started linking Celeste's name to other missing teens or celebrity scandals, completely unrelated cases, just for clicks. And this part matters because that kind of noise doesn't just confuse viewers, it can actually damage the investigation. It's contaminating witness statements. It can possibly be tipping off people under surveillance. It just makes a mess. It's actually something I try to be mindful of here too. I always want to inform, not to inflame. So let's get back to what's actually confirmed. Right now, LAPD Robbery Homicide Division is leading the investigation. Detectives have served multiple search warrants, including the one at the Hollywood Hills property linked to David's management team, and they collected electronics and other evidence. The coroner's office has not released a cause of manner of death, which means toxicology and forensic testing are still ongoing. This might change by the time I post the video. If that's the case, I will link it in the comment below, but this is how the things are at the moment. David's legal team has not been charged with any crime and no arrests have been made, But despite this, just today before filming, multiple videos on my YouTube feed popped up with titles like David got arrested, David's manager in handcuffs. Of course, when I actually searched for it in the news, there was nothing confirming it. But it doesn't stop people from posting those clickbaity videos. The only public statement from David's side so far is that he's cooperating fully with the investigators and is devastated by what's happened. Meanwhile, Celeste's family in Lake Elsinore has spoken publicly, asking for privacy and for people not to share graphic or speculative content online. They've said they just want answers and to see their daughter treated with dignity. And that's where things stand for now. A child missing for over a year, found in celebrity's car with massive gap between public speculation and what's actually been proven. So what actually happens now? At this stage, investigators are basically working through three main tracks. First, the forensics. That means the coroner's office running toxicology tests, DNA comparisons, and trace analysis from the car and any location tied to David's team. Those results are what will tell us if Celeste died from violence, overdose, suffocation, or something else entirely. And until the coroner finalizes those findings, police can't officially call this a homicide, even if they're already treating it like one behind the scenes. Second, digital evidence. Detectives have seized several devices from the Hollywood property, phones, laptops, cameras, storage drives. They will be looking for any messages, location data, or even deleted files that connect Celeste to anyone in David's circle. This part can take months, especially if they are decrypting phones or analyzing cloud backups. It's a really lengthy process. So even if we don't see public updates for a while, that doesn't mean the case has gone cold. It just means it's in that behind the scenes stage where real progress is happening quietly. And third, witness interviews. That includes people who might have seen Celeste in LA before her death, anyone from David's touring crew or management who had access to his vehicles, and anyone connected to her missing person reports back in Riverside County. That's what investigators are trying to map right now. If there's a link between those two worlds, her community in Lake Elsinore and his circle in Los Angeles. So as for the legal side, as I mentioned before, there have been no charges, David hasn't been arrested, and LAPD hasn't named any other suspects publicly. If they eventually classified the case as homicide, which it seems like they will, then they will have to prove two things: how Celeste died and who was responsible for placing her in that car. That's why the evidence chain matters so much here. Even one procedural slip, like a mishandled search or a missing warrant, could derail any future prosecution. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion has already chosen sides. Some fans are convinced he's being framed. Others think the silence is proof of guilt. But legally, the presumption of innocence still stands. Until there's no actual charge, all of this remains under investigation. For Celeste's family, though, this isn't about hashtags or fandoms. It's about a 14-year-old who disappeared, who somehow ended up 70 miles from home in the trunk of a car, and whose story deserves to be told with care, not sensationalized. Because behind every screenshot and theory, there's a real family still waiting for an explanation, still waiting for justice. And that's why in every update, I'm going to keep grounding this story in what's proven and not in what's trending. And when I say I don't want to sensationalize it, it doesn't mean I'm ignoring what people are talking about or that I don't believe that David could be responsible. I just think we need to be careful here. Right now, the internet has turned this case into a patchwork of half-truths, coincidences, and fan theories, but I still think some of them are worth unpacking just to understand why they caught on. So first, the idea that there are two different Celestes. This one's everywhere right now, TikTok, Reddit, some blogs. It started after people noticed that David followed another young woman named Celeste Herrera. She's around 23 and she lives in California as well. Some users began claiming that she might be the same person or that she replaced Celeste Rivas somehow. People reporting that one hated the other or that David was obsessed with Celeste and tried to replace her with the other one. Lots of speculations about it. In reality, the evidence for that is thin. Yes, she exists. Her name is really Celeste Herrera, and she reportedly posted different Celeste comment on social media after people started tagging her under the posts about the case. But that's where it ends. There's no indication from law enforcement that she has any connection to the investigation. If she has, and if they are investigating this angle, they're not gonna make it public right now. So I guess we're not gonna know until something comes out of it, if something comes out of it. Now, another theory suggests that someone in David's management or inner circle helped hide what happened or even planted the car to protect him. This came from the reports that Hollywood Hills house tied to his team was searched and that the lease was under a manager's name instead of David's name. This is quite common practice. So again, it doesn't mean anything. And that part is true. LAPD did execute a warrant there and they did collect electronics and some other evidence, but we don't know yet what was found or why the search targeted that address, beside the fact that it was connected to David. I'm assuming there might be other properties connected to him. It seems like they only searched this one, so they might have some information that is not public that lead them to this specific address. And as I mentioned before, there's also that live stream clip, the one that looks like David and a younger talking on camera with her saying something quite disturbing about raping kids. That clip exists online, but again, it's never been verified by police or authenticated by forensic experts. It could be real, edited, it could be manipulated. Until there's official confirmation, is just digital noise. And given how advanced video editing and deepfake tools have become, I would say skepticism is healthy. I actually feel sorry for the investigators right now because on one side we have these amazing technologies that help so much, the forensic techniques that can do magic, but on the other hand, internet, the AI, deepfakes are making it harder and harder as well. So we spoke a little bit about the case, the theories, we talked about Celeste, but we haven't actually spoke who David really is. So his real name is David Anthony Burke, born March 28, 2005. He started his presence online with posting video game edits on YouTube, and I think he got frustrated with copyright claims on the background music. And one day he decided to record his own background tracks. Apparently he started doing it on his phone in his sister's closet. So pretty inspiring story so far. And as he continued with music, he eventually rose to popularity with tracks like Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, which went viral on TikTok and on Spotify. There's a good chance you even heard that music without even realizing it was from him. He has claimed that he is strongly influenced by anime, manga, and Japanese storytelling. And parts of the aesthetics are woven into his visuals and branding. If you ever watched his videos, they are quite specific. One of the most talked about elements is his character Itami, a darker alternate persona. The name Itami in Japanese means pain. In interviews, David has said that Itami is like a version of me who surfaces sometimes, a force of chaos that he channels in his art. He has described a conceptual world where there's a detective and a version of himself who commits crimes, and the detective then solves them. It's echoing the duality or internal conflict.
Basically, an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego, and the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden, and he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it.
In multiple videos for Romantic Homicide, Rehab, Dirty Secrets, among others, Itami imagery appears frequently. Masked, blindfolded figures, blood, mirrored selves, and repeated visual symbolism of pain and murder. So part of what people are doing now is reading his artistic output like a hidden diary. Here are some of the things people are pointing to. Again, unverified and speculative. The symbols and patterns they see as not coincidences. There was a leaked demo surfaced recently titled Celeste, allegedly recorded in December of 2023. The lyrics reportedly reference a girl named Celeste. They mention tattoos and obsession. There are online claims that David deleted Reddit posts about Celeste or muted criticism on his subreddit, perhaps moderating content about his own lyrics or any ties to this case. Additionally, his lyrics are now being read literally by a lot of people. Lines about voice, haunting presence, pain, eternal love, being unable to forget a name. Some see those as autobiographical hints. Each one of these is a thread people are pulling. Some are weak, some are more visually or emotionally striking, but none of them, in what I found, are currently part of a confirmed law enforcement disclosure. And while fans online keep dissecting every lyric and dates for hidden clues, Celeste's former teacher actually spoke out about her. Not long after the case made headlines, a man posted a video claiming he had taught Celeste Rivas Hernández in a class back in 2024, and that he noticed worrying signs long before any of this happened. In that video, which later aired on local news, including Fox, he said that Celeste once told him she'd met an older guy online, someone she called a rapper in LA. According to him, she disappeared for a while, was eventually found by police in Hollywood, and then returned home and back to school. He was even captured showing students a photo that allegedly showed Celeste, another classmate, and that man, that rapper from LA. Though he didn't specify when or where that photo was taken.
Hold up. That's her in my classroom in front of this poster right here. Okay, hold up. I got another one because I got a picture on TMZ of this other kid exchanging stuff with the rapper who we alleged did this stuff. Hold on a second, because he's also in my classroom.
And how long ago was this?
We all just found out yesterday who it was, but she's been missing since I taught her. So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. She came back to our school, kind of told people this story. She disappeared again in May of that year, May of 2024. That's when her friends told me what happened, that it was this rapper, that they were like blackmailing him, all of this stuff. And then I found out yesterday that she's now dead in that rapper's car, cut into pieces. You want to know how they met? I feel like I just said it. Social media. Let me tell you another story.
He described her as quiet, artistic, and easily influenced, and said that when he saw the news about the Tesla, it broke him because he recognized her name immediately. Now, if his account is accurate, it could add important context, suggesting that Celeste might have had contact with someone in the music scene months before she vanished for the last time. But it's also really important to say this clearly. None of what that teacher said has been confirmed by law enforcement. I know it was shown on the news, and I bet it's probably true, but LAPD hasn't referenced his statement publicly, and there's no official record showing his information was filed as evidence. In any case, I think that alone speaks volumes about how many adults saw pieces of this story long before it reached the headlines, but never imagined it would end like this. And that brings us to where we started. Because when you piece all of these fragments together, the art, the alter ego, the internet theories, the teacher's memory, you start to see the bigger picture. And maybe that's what makes this case so haunting. Not just what happened, but how quickly we all turned it into content. Somewhere between empathy and entertainment, the line blurred. But when you strip all that away, the facts are simple and brutal. A Tesla was towed from Hollywood Hills Street Inside the remains of a 14-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas Hernández. Cousin manner still pending, no suspects charged, a family still waiting. Everything else, every theory, every alleged clue sits in the waiting room of verification. Some of it might one day fit into bigger truth. Some of it will fall apart completely. If the symbolism in David's work really does echo Celeste's story, it could turn out to be coincidence or foreshadowing no one meant to notice until it was too late. Either way, it's tragic. So until then, here's where we leave it. A girl from Lake Elsinore gone far too soon. I'll keep following this one carefully, and when there are verified updates, not rumors, I will break them down here. But for now, we wait, because Celeste deserves more than speculation. She deserves the truth. Thank you for watching, and take care.